So this is called Busy Bug Book. Actually, I'm going to switch lights real quick.
You like that, don't you?
Yeah, I've got a different light. But you can get it in a car and you can get it in a helicopter. It doesn't really matter. But what happens is you pull back on it. The ladybug comes out. You pull back on it, and it just pulls back. So at 2, they can do that. They can pull back on it, and it goes on the track. You see how it's going on the track? It goes all the way over the track. Yeah, look at that smile. Love it, love it, love it. But it's not just one track. There's like 4 tracks in each page. And the one thing about the ladybug that I like is it's also raised. So it's kind of like embossed. I'm trying to have the car run and also show y'all, but let me put that down for a second. This part is raised up right here, so they can feel it.
Go broke on books
like that, You could also have a party and get some books for free for yourself if you share these books with your friends. And that's kind of the fun way. But they are designed to get off the couch and play with me. I mean, that's how they're designed. They're designed to give kids the message that books are fun. So this is one that I have. And KK, the other thing I thought about is tomorrow, Thursday, when I get you the other books that people have ordered, I could bring you some other books and we could switch out some things. Because you never know if some people might want to order something.
I definitely want the bug book. I'm in love with that myself.
Well, we'll start putting a wish list together for you,
Which I will be there at least 2:10 or 2:15 to come and buy books tomorrow.
Well, we can put, did you get that a little order form that we sent home?
I did, but our classroom, Miss Margaret said something is wrong with the wish list that they have for the class.
Oh, really?
So I would like to get her wish list so that I can get some things for the classroom as well.
Okay. Well, we can figure that out. I don't know why she's not the one that talked to me about the one not showing up. So I got to find out why Miss Margaret's is not showing up. But we
have to find that little that piece. It's somewhere in here. We get so much paper.
Yeah.
And just like put it somewhere.
Just put it somewhere, huh? Well, anyway, we can do that. But I wanted to show y'all real quickly a couple of other ones. I'm going to switch lights real quick. Hold on one second. This light is going to be better. But the other one that's fun for y'all age is these. We have ABC and we have I Can Count. But they have these little books inside. And it teaches them about counting and all that, you can go ahead and start the counting. But then the other thing is what's cool about this is they can use these to build blocks too, so as you know how they love to build, so they can do that like that and stuff like that. But the really cool thing is also it will take them a little bit, but they can do it. They can put them back. And that's fine motor skills to be able to put them back. And I may not even put them in the right spots right now, but just to put them back is also fine motor skills. So you're not only getting a book, but you're getting a toy in a way that they can do, that they can play with, but also getting things to work on fine motor skills with them. So, and I didn't tell you, the bug book is $24.99 and this one is $12.99. So they're very, very reasonable. What she was telling you about the Gingerbread Man, which is so cool, is, at night after you've read to your kid for a while, you may be a little tired and you don't want to read anymore, but they want you to read. They want you to keep reading to you. So the really cool thing about this, as she knows, is it
making a gingerbread man today. You won't eat me, he says. No way. Run as fast as you can. You can't catch me. I'm the gingerbread man.
Can y'all hear that? And see, it stopped all on its own. Let me show you real quick. It stopped all on its own. They're going to turn the page. And guess what? Your kid will figure out. Push the button again. But if they wanted to stop, all they do is stop, which also teaches them cause and effect. But this is also really good for struggling readers because sometimes they can't read it all. and they don't want somebody to read it to them, but they need to figure it out on their own. So that's what's really cool. But we have the Gingerbread Man, we have Cinderella, we have Little Red Riding Hood. We have a bunch of different stories that are like these, and these are $19.99. They have batteries on the back. So if for some reason it stops working, you just take the batteries out and give it new batteries. So
Right.
really
Yeah.
simple.
Right.
The other one that's unique to us, especially for those of you that are reading to more than one child at one time, which a lot of us are, is the complete book of Farmyard Tales. And the really neat thing about the complete book of Farmyard Tales is you can start out, well, first of all, it's what we call a combined volume, which means it's several stories in one. But in the very beginning, it tells you all of the stories. So there's like 20 different stories that's in this book. But then it's really neat. This is Pig Gets Stuck. With a young child, all you do is read the top part. Like your 2-year-old, he's probably not ready for a lot of print yet. He needs something really simple. So you just read the top part. But there's also a duck hidden on every page. So it helps to hold their attention so they can find the duck. Like here, there's the duck. Do you see him up here? You know, so, and if you're reading to an older child and a younger child, you can read the bottom part, and hopefully most of the time, the younger child will go ahead and find the duck, and that'll keep them kind of busy. So, you know, but it also grows with them. So in other words, when they're young, you can read just the top part, and then when they get older, you can read the bottom part. So it has more print. It also has a CD with it. And we have a version coming out that has a QR code on it also. So that is the complete book of Farmyard Tales. That would be really great for them. We also have, which is similar, but a little bit for, is Ted and Friends, which is a phonetic reader. So for like your 4-year-old, you know, she might be starting to try to put together the letters and try to be, so this is a great read aloud. It's also by Stephen Cartwright, just like this one. It's also the same thing, but it's also kind of the same. There's always a duck hidden on every page. So again, it helps to hold their attention to find the duck. Like in this page, the duck is right behind the little pig. See right there. So, but, and again, this is also what we call a combined volume, because you have all these stories just like this in this phonic reader, and it does have the QR code on the back. So again, when you're, you know, just tired after a while and you can trust your daughter with the iPad or whatever, then you can do that. We also have individual titles. I thought I grabbed some of those, but some of these stories also can be individual, and they're $6.99. So you don't have to get the whole volume. You can get the individual ones if you want to. And the really neat thing about phonic readers is you can start pointing out the rhyming words, because if the kid is going to struggle with reading, they're not going to understand the rhyming words. So even for a, what y'all call neurotypical or typical kid, you know, who may not struggle with reading, pointing out the rhyming words is not going to hurt them at all. And that's actually another thing that's going to really help with their reading skills. So that's one of the things you can do. This is more, I mean, it's good for this 2-year-olds to have a book that they can like treasure, you know, and that they're not going to hurt or anything like that. And this is all Touchy Feely. It's also Stephen Cartwright. It has flaps. And they can tear these. So you just have to kind of look about it, but they're kind of thick. So they're not going to be torn by accident. They're going to be tear only if they really choose to, you know, if that, and you know, your kids, sometimes they're okay. And then sometimes 2-year-olds are okay. They're not going to tear the book.
He has a book that teaches him sign language, and he's torn all the pictures that have flaps like that off.
Right.
Yes.
So he may be not ready at this point, and that's okay too. And that's another point that I was going to make. I have like about 6 points I want to remember, but some of them with reading is you don't want to push them too much, because if you push them, then they're going to stop wanting to read, and they're going to, you know, you want to give them the feeling that reading is fun. So finding the right books are what's important. Some of the simple books that we have, We Love You, Magnu, and also these are very like thick, but they're not board books. So they're kind of like a good transition where they can, have the story, enjoy the story, and help you turn the pages and make it be a really fun. But as you see on this story, there's not a lot of print. There's only one or two, and they're also very rhythmic. Another really one that I don't have is Ooh Ah, which is also a really good fun one if you're looking for something like Brown Bear, but Ooh Ah is also a really, really fun one, along with I'm a Hungry Dinosaur. That's another one that's really, really fun. But they're all kind of like this, where they have thick pages and they're simple storylines. So for the young ones. Other one, this is our classics. If you've never seen our books, which Lacey, I don't think you have ever before, these are the ones that KK, do you have some of these?
My kids, we have like 3 or 4 of them. They love him. That's not my Benny. That's not my that's not my. We have read them each probably 1,000 times. They love them. There's something about like every page is that's not my elephant because the trunk is too leathery. That's not my, because
it's too shiny or whatever.
Shiny. Yeah, and then that's not my Benny. Like we have them all. And the last page says, oh, that is my elephant because the tail. So I mean, they love. Yeah,
that's my tractor. Its headlights are so shiny. After it says that. But these are $9.99. They're very, very reasonable. We probably have 20 of them. So you can pick and choose. But again, these are the books that you want to have on hand that they can grab anytime they want to look at them. So these are the ones you can leave on the floor. The other fun thing about raising readers is you want to make sure you're advertising reading. So by creating an area, whether it's like this or something else, where you have books on display, you're advertising reading. I mean, we have that big, huge television in our homes, but do we really advertise reading? So we kind of need to advertise reading. They need to see you reading, and even you enjoying reading to them is also good. But having books like in the bathroom, having books in the backseat of the car, having books at the breakfast table. These, if they get food on them, you just wipe them off. But anytime you can have books are one of the best things that you can do to encourage reading with them. And kids who struggle, they're going to use the context clues. And all of this is so good for vocabulary. You're talking about the word leatherly, for them to be able to see it in print and feel it in print. That is so good for getting that connection of that language and what it is. So these books are perfect for that also.
The other day, like on this couple of days in the last week or two, like I've gone to because I don't send Peter to school more than a Mother's Day out like 2 days a week. And so he doesn't. Anna Kate goes to Rise 5 days a week, but I love having him with me right now.
Right.
And so I think he will go to Rise in the future. But so he's in. So I'll go take a shower. It'll be 20 minutes later. I'll come out. He is still in his room and he is looking at that book.
That's not high. Yeah. Because there's so much involved in it. They can feel and touch it and everything.
His leg, he's analyzing it. And it's so cool to like open up quietly his room door and see him quietly reading, and as an educator, we would call it picture walking.
Right.
And so he's picture walking. And I see Anna Kate, dude, he's one of the big IKEA storage units like I see on your book back shelf. I don't know if that's IKEA. I have the IKEA one in his, and the whole bottom shelf is like books.
Yeah.
And same with Anna Kate's room. And they can take him out anytime. Some days it's a wild mess and it's a problem. So my issue is teaching him to clean up these days, but
it's hard.
It's fun to see them just even in the mornings when she's ready for school and she doesn't want to eat breakfast. It's cool to see her just sitting there reading or thinking that she's reading, like picture walking.
Yeah, or pretending. Right,
the whole showering and coming out, like and ready. He spent 20 minutes picture walking through one or two books.
And that
For
is
that-
so good because
I
they have so many other choices. They have
And-
toys and they have all these other choices that could get their attention.
Yeah, and books like 2 or 3 years ago, like they're not new,
Yeah.
you know.
Mhm.
But he can have read they've been read to them so many times that it's cool that repetition's so important. And I think just seeing the words, by the time they're in kindergarten, they're going to know those words by mindset, you know, by they're going to become sight words to them is what kids say.
They're going to know them right away
Which
because
is
they've been exposed to them so much.
Sight words are critical in kindergarten. I mean, you know that.
And rather than, I mean, they're not only just looking at the book, but they're experiencing the book. They're experiencing what that leatherly feels like. So, I mean,
Right.
they're experiencing it. So that's the other way that it's going to connect in the brain, is that's what they're experiencing. Have you seen these before? Yes, no, okay. These, it's funny. These came out probably 5 or 6 years ago, and we go back and forth. And I forget about them sometimes because we have over 2,000 books. But this is really cool for teaching your kids the fun part about language and how language can be really funny. I'm trying to not get a glare here. Okay, so this is Tilly Terrific, the turbocharged Titan, travels tirelessly through town to take a tasty taco on her tame to her tame T-Rex. But watch what happens if you change the words. So you can read it however you want to, and they will pick and choose how they want you to read it to them. So they have a lot of interactive. I mean, they can do it however you want. And again, you're exposing them to all of these fun. I mean, look at this venomous viper. How many 2-year-olds would know what the word venomous is? But they're sponges right now. So the more you expose them to that language right now, they're going to catch it. Bamboozles is another word that's in here. Bewildered. It's not words that are normally used in speech, and that's designed for that. So this is a superhero, and this is like $8.99. These, by the way, are $9.99, just for people to know. But then we have these that are just created. These are board books, but they're really, really beautifully illustrated. And there's tons of them. And it's very, very simple print. And they're very, very reasonable because they're only $4.99. So, I mean, you could have tons of these, but like this is the Noah's Ark story. And it's just, especially with Easter and different things.
Oh, I
like
love that.
you know, it's just,
Yeah.
I mean, they just came out like, oh
Yeah.
God, was it this fall that we got them? And I'm like, God, these are so
love
cool. We also have a new puzzle line where we have puzzles now for kids, and they also have markers. Let me get, I had a pen here. Here we go. I had a pen. I'm going to show it to you. This is just a 30-piece puzzle, but we also have 2 to 4-piece puzzles. So depending on where your child is on puzzles, you know, because it's all different spectrum as to where they could be. But these are the puzzle pieces. They look like this. They're flat. They're hard quality, which is also really cool because if you've gotten cheap dollar store puzzles before, sometimes they don't lay flat. And that's frustrating for your child. So they do that. But then every single puzzle, whether it's a unicorn puzzle, the one about about the world, doesn't matter. All of them have a book inside of them. And again, this book in itself, I mean, I'm going to show you some of the illustrations from this book. Look. I mean, the illustrations are just incredible. So this book, just by itself, is worth probably $10 or so because of the illustrations, just to kind of give you an idea. But I didn't want to not expose y'all to the puzzles and letting you know about the puzzles. And then, have you seen this? I don't remember if I had one of these on display or not, KK. Do you remember if I had it on display?
I think so.
I think so. Because these are really, this is been a popular like baby gift, even though it's other things. It's Orchestra, But again, it has that same kind of component where you push the button right here. Y'all hear the music? Yeah?
Yeah.
But watch again, they got it going. Well, let me turn one more page. They got it going. There's the song. But watch what happens. If they push it, it stops.
Oh.
So you know how they love to push buttons, and it's not appropriate sometimes, all the TV buttons and stuff like that. But these are a lot of more of our sound books, but this is the first book of orchestra. But we have an animal Beethoven one. If you want to expose, your kid already likes animals, you want to expose them to Beethoven, we've got that too. And then this one, I showed this one to you already, and I think a few people got it. Let me grab some water real quick because I want to show you what that happens.
Somebody likes the seasoning.
Oh, yay. That's good. My kids love to cook with me. It's always so fun to do that. So really neat. Okay, water wonders in the Arctic. You can take a wet wipe. You can take anything you want. You can take a little paintbrush, whatever. And when you put the water on here, you see what happens. See how they're getting to paint the animals and stuff like that. It's just such a cool way to let them know that books are fun and they're interactive, because we believe that we have to compete with iPads and everything else today. And we want to make sure books are just as fun. So these are different things that we can do, but these go away. They go away when they dry, and then you start them all over again. And these, there's like 4 of these and they're $12.99. So that's Water Wonders in the Arctic. Have y'all seen this one before? Yes? Have you ever gotten it, KK?
I just, it's in my list. I'm about to
On your list? Okay. Because we started out with this
And
one.
in the book fair, and she's just slipped out. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we started out with just this one, and we sold it like crazy. I mean, we sold them like crazy. And now we have like 4 different times, but this is still probably the most popular one of all of them. But kids love it. They love it. They love it. They love it. And the way that it works, just so if you haven't seen it, they have the animals in here, and the page. I had to open up a new one because I had my sample sold. Sometimes my sample sold, so the pages are really close together. But watch out, monkey swung too fast, bumped his head. Ouch! Clean it, kiss it, put a bandage on it. So then you have to put a band-aid on the monkey to make him feel better. And kids love band-aids. And you do have to be careful not to lose the band-aids. So you have to teach them to put the band-aids back when they're done. But if they start to where they don't stick anymore, you just wipe them and then they stick again. So there's nothing that is ever going to happen to them.
Okay, good to know.
But yeah, there's like 4 or 5 animals in each book. This is the sheep.
Because Anna Kay walks out to that book every day in the book fair and
Can't wait.
with her. And I said, no, it's not, that one's not yours. Sorry.
But they're so fun. We have Time to Brush, which has to do with brushing their teeth. It's also very similar. We have Kisses and Cuddles Goodnight, which is all animals. I mean, just a whole bunch of funny fun ones. And we just got another one called Feed the Animals. That one is brand new. That is very similar to that. Have y'all seen the Shine the Light books? No. Okay. Well, your little daughter is going to go crazy for the Shine the Light books. Your Lacey's son might not be quite ready because they're regular. They have to, they're just regular pages. So you have to be careful. But this is the Secrets of the Animal Tree. And this is what happens with it. And again, this is the fun part. Go ahead.
Because he's really rough. So a lot of her like sweet books she's had, we'll still buy them, but
yeah,
He's really, our 2-year-old son's really, really rough. So we
They
just have
don't tell us that the boys are much rougher than the girls, do
to,
they? If
he
we had
tears
them,
things. I just have to keep, because I want to still be able to buy her beautiful books like that, but I just have to be careful with him, and that's fine because I don't want her to not enjoy that, you know?
Right.
So
Well, on
yeah.
your little bookcase that you have, you just put her books high.
Her
And
books
then,
high.
and then, you know, she has to ask to get them down or whatever, and then you have to.
She
put
has a
'em up.
higher up bookshelf. Yeah. That I put him
Okay.
up on. Yeah.
Yeah, so she's got that.
But
But
he's
this
too,
apple tree is green with leaves in the summer. Can you guess what it looks like in the winter? Let's see if I can show this to you enough. Are you able to see it a little bit? There it goes. The silhouette of the tree is showing up on each one. So then it says, "Burr, in the winter, the branches are bare. One by one, the leaves drift to the ground, but the tree will grow new leaves in the spring." Can you see who the bird is about to grab? Y'all see? Who's the bird about to grab? My pages are flipping. Y'all see?
the worms.
The worms. Yep, there's the worms right there. So again, the whole idea of these is to make reading fun. You know, this is where there's a frog on this page. There you go. You can see it a little bit there with the frog. But the whole idea, there's like 14, I think, of these now, and they are $12.99. They're so reasonable. But you know, that's the whole idea of that, is to just get kids to love. And you know, there's something about storylines, which are great, as you know, as a teacher, storylines are great, but there's also something really neat about exposing them to nonfiction. And that's what these are mostly about, is their oceans, things like that. I learned so much more just by reading these books, you know, but that's what they're about. Real quickly, you said your daughter is starting to know most of her letters. Does she know the capital ones and the lowercase, or just the
No, she doesn't know the difference. Yeah.
difference yet?
And I was looking at the books today at the book fair, and I think pen control could be a really big thing for her.
There
I'm
we
wondering
go.
for her
Yeah.
right now.
Because I was thinking, I
I'm
mean,
still teaching pen control to my 10-year-old daughter.
Your
Oh,
10-year-old?
yes.
Okay, that's encouraging. See if a 10-year-old. Okay, good.
You know how we like to have cute handwriting when we were like
Yeah.
elementary and middle? They don't care now because everything is digital.
right,
Right.
it's all digital. But the
We
other
had to
fun
write
part
it
about it,
out.
like with your 10-year-old daughter, get her out on the sidewalk and have her create something really big with letters. I mean, you know, do a birthday sign for somebody or something like that. Because as big as she can write it, that will help her with those motor skills and getting those motor skills in there. You can also, with your 2-year-old and also with you can have them draw the letters really, really big in the sky and also on the floor or on the cement or something like that. But as big as they can make them, the better.
Okay.
They can even put their body into the shape of the letters. And that's what's going to help them. So anything like that you can do. But beginning pen control is great. Kids, they love these with this little wipe and clean marker, and they will spend hours and hours just going over everything and doing it over and over again. They just have such a blast with these. So anything like that, but beginning pen control would be fabulous. And then once she thinks she's got it kind of a hang on that, then you can start with capital letters with
Yeah.
you know.
I would love for her to be able to do that. But when I was looking through them today at the book fair, she needs to learn just how to go from 1 to 2 to 3 to.
Right. And what happens, or at least it happened with my own kids, is they don't really teach them handwriting either. So it's amazing how they've just kind of like figured out how to write the letters. So what these do is they actually teach them step by step. They tell them exactly where to start on the dot and to go down and then go this way and then go this way. Because even my own kids who are now 18 are like, really, you write it that way? Because I didn't catch it when they were young. They weren't writing it correctly. And they don't anymore. I mean, they just let them write it however, you know. But anyway, that would help a lot. We also have, Lacey, for your 10-year-old, we have starting cursive too in these. And they're
Yes,
not too big.
that's her new interest, is her writing her name in cursive.
Yeah.
And I saw her write it and she kind of like tries to do it on her own. I'm like, yeah, you have to bring your U back down before you make a X, because you can't just go off the top of the U and it doesn't look right.
Right. So anyways, but these are better in many ways than just paper pencil because they're a lot more fun. And also because it's so easy to erase. If they mess up, all they do is take their finger and they can erase it. They don't have to do anything else, you know? So they figured that out pretty soon. So that's one really cool thing about these. Coming back to books that 2-year-olds enjoy a lot on their own. Our books are designed to be interactive. These, you have to push the button. You turn it back and forth. And then when you get over here, see like the elephant, you know, his trunk goes, but it even goes, this one is, anyway, they're designed, yeah, there's the snake hiding away, but and then this is again, and the turtle coming out, but this is designed to get them engaged with this book and to play with the book over and over and over again. So we have a whole series of these. Yeah, there's a tiger, see his face, and then it's open, you know. So anyway, that's going back to the,
We give those, they're fun.
yeah.
Will you be at the school?
I will not. They have a display on where you can look, but you have my number. If you got my text earlier tonight, you have my number. You can text me back and forth, any questions, stuff like that. And you can just send me your order, whether you have it. You can order online, but then you have to pay shipping and stuff like that. But if you could give me an order, I'll put it with other people's orders and we'll get it that way. We can start. We did one order the other day for people who wanted Easter books back in time for Easter. So we did that, but we can still do that. And if there's something that you know, like, let's say you want the Busy Bug book, like you said earlier, and you want it for Easter, if you can let me know and Venmo me or whatever between now and when I give them to KK tomorrow. No, tomorrow is when I'm getting the books at my house. Thursday is when she'll be taking them to school. Then I can get you Easter books if I have them in stock. Okay, if you haven't had a chance to do that yet. And these are our sticker books, just so y'all could kind of see. Have you gotten KK any of the sticker books yet?
No, I haven't. No, but I think my
Okay.
2-year-old might like them because we were working on an Easter book, sticker book from last year, just this afternoon.
And he was
At the
starting to figure it out.
But
Some of them
he
are
likes-
simpler than others.
He's more of a sticker person than her. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, this
And
is,
he loves cars.
he
so.
loves cars. Well, this could be also something that your husband would sit down with him and enjoy doing with him, which
Yeah.
is, you know, I did a book for one day, and this dad, it was outdoors, and this dad came up with his big, huge monster truck. He drove up with a big, huge truck. And I was like, okay, I think you need the monster truck sticker book. So he did, he bought it for his 2 girls. So it's
Okay.
something that they could enjoy doing together. But these are the stickers. So he's going to need, at this point, a little bit of help to get the stickers out, you know, because these are a little bit more complicated. But with his dad's help, they can decorate the cars. And that's how
So
they work. Well, you know, we have younger.
It's great for fine motor skills because it's hard. Even I'm noticing like it's hard at even almost 2.5 for him to get him in the right place. But I don't worry about that. It's just matching it to the right sizing, small, medium, large, because a lot of times these books are working more on sizing than, you know,
and figuring it out.
it's
And
just
I
slowly.
like even the princess and the princess books that we have and the fairy, you know, all that, they all have the storyline. And the car book, they all have a glossary in the back, and they're talking about what a accelerator is and what a bottleneck is. So there's, and this is like, this is all about the cyclone car. If you want to learn about a cyclone car, and a car about a scorch. I don't know about a scorch, you know? So, I mean, it's just, and we have, I don't happen to have the dinosaur book. We have dinosaur, build your own dinosaur too. but anything that you're doing, and we have, y'all both mentioned dinosaurs. We have the shine the light in the dinosaurs too, where you look at with a flashlight. That's a dinosaur book too. But you can take, you can take that information and expose them to that. I think that is all that I brought. I wanted to show one more thing, because also because of the recording, there may be other people who have older age kids who are really struggling learning how to read. So I wanted to do with a couple of different things. One is we have a beginning reader series. And the really cool thing about the beginner reader series is it is the story, like This Is the Boy Who Cried Wolf, which is kind of hard to find. But it has the pictures and it has the print and all that. But then again, like the phonic readers, it has a QR code on the back. So this is especially good for kids who are struggling with reading, because they can watch what's happening with the words, and they can watch while they're reading, because that's what they're going to do. They're going to follow along with that. So that would be a great idea. If they're not struggling reading, it's still great, like even for your daughter, for her to go through and look if she has an attention span to go to do this. So that's that. But really quickly, before we move on, we have a series, and it's called My First Reading Series. And what happens with this is the number one books, the younger books, you do like a shared reading. It's really cool for exposing them, like Captain Mac. And what happens with this is you read one page. Captain Mac is busy. He sails 10:30, but he still needs to find a crew. And then they read, can I get 10 men? So they read something very simpler, I can be a cook, says Tom, look out. And when you get wet, I can catch our supper. And then they read again, something very similar. And this is the reason I joined the company like 10 years ago. It's because my kids were struggling with reading, and I was looking for something, and I never seen anything like this. Because the problem with like the Bob books that people buy to teach their kids to read, and they start reading with them, they're boring and the kids hate it, because they're not, they can't read enough to make the storyline yet exciting. So this is designed to make the storyline exciting, but they're still reading. And then the other part that I like about it is, especially for me, and Lacey, I didn't get a chance to tell you this, but I have triplets, and they're now 18. I don't know if she heard me that but anyway, I have triplets. So when they were young, I was outnumbered. My husband had, even though I had the teaching degree, my husband had to learn how to read to them and what to do. Well, in the back, they have comprehension questions for my husband to do with them. And then they have practice sight words, stuff like that in the back. And they always have a little fun activity for the kids to do too, a little puzzle and things like that. So my husband could take it one step further and do something else with it. So there's a couple of choices. There's a hardback version where the hardbacks are just like this, and they're 15 books that are hardback, and they're $69.99, and they go sequential. They go 1 through 15. You start out with the number 1, and slowly you progress to where they're doing 15. But we also have another set that's big, huge, a 50 set. And what happens with these is the first 15 books of the 50 set is the same set as these, the hardback ones, the 1 through 15. But then the other ones are different colors. Like this one's a little bit harder, and this is the pink. And then we have the little yellow, so it's a little bit harder. So all of those as they go. So you wouldn't have,
So what are, Janice, what are those called? The 50s?
There's My First Reading, and this is my first reading is 50. It's 50 books. And then very first reading is only 15 books, and they're hardback. So, but the only difference is $10. So the value in some ways is so much better for the 50. You're just getting paperback books. But it just kind of depends on what you want to do. But
are they the same I just wanted, are they the same characters with
Yeah.
different?
Yep. I
More-
mean, there's a little bit more, there's more stories in the 50 book, but in the 51, the first 15 books are also the same as what's in the hardback.
Okay.
Like 1 through 15 is the same. So you're getting those, but then in the 50 book set, you're getting also more characters. So
Okay,
you're
great.
getting all of those. And then just so that we're on a recording too, so you can know this, it is $79.99. And if you can't, if that's a price that you don't, like when I did this, I was like, I really want this, but I'm really short on money. Maybe I can't, get that right away or whatever. Well, I decided to have a party, because when I have a party and I invite some friends and I get at least $100 in orders, then I can get things at half price. So I was able to get this set at half price, but also earn some free books too. So that's the really cool thing about that. And I know we're getting late in the evening and I need to get y'all going, but I wanted to show you, let me get here. Kind of the plan. You're helping your school out, and definitely want to order books to help the school out too. But after a while, you're like, well, I want to get more books. There's more books that I want. So I wanted to show you, like in the month of April, if you host a party and it's like maybe 8 people there, you're going to get $110 in free books, if you get like 8 different orders. So just to kind of give you an idea. But also in May, we have double in free books. So for that same $350 party, you have to get it a little bit higher, but you could get $140 in books for a $400 party. So just kind of, and then you also have this half price over here where it works. So I love doing parties. I love doing them on Zoom. I love personalizing them. I don't care if 2 people come, which is what, like tonight. I just love helping y'all get the best books, because I don't want to just fill up your house with books. I want to get the best books that your kids are going to be excited about. And that is the reason that I joined this company so many years ago. And I want to show you one other thing. I joined because my kids were struggling with reading and I needed to do what I could to help them. And it just made more sense. And I've now been doing it 10 years. I mean, I never look back. I've gone on so many trips over and over again and just had so much fun. I've developed such an enormous career out of this business. It's just been amazing. I'm a leader of a team and I have 5 different leaders underneath me, and we're all reaching these kids. And it's so exciting. I had 2 people on my team this week that one did a $10,000 book fair and the other one did an $8,000 book fair. So it's just exciting. But to get started with us, it's either $99 for a larger kit or $59 for the smaller kit, and you get 6 months of website for free. But then even after that, it's only $8 a month to keep your website. And the website, they do everything with the website. People order on the website. I don't do anything. I don't ship books. I don't do anything with the stuff that goes on the website. It's really, really nice. It's a nice little convenience. But I just wanted to tell y'all this because you may know somebody that's looking for something. And if or you yourself may be interested either way, but there's so many blessings to this business. The people that you're going to meet along the way, the people that are going to be excited about books, just like you are, they're going to become some of your best friends. Also, I forgot to tell you, when you do the $99 kit, you get a $30 credit automatically to pick whatever books you want. And the same way with the $59 kit, you get a $15 credit. But anyway, I just, mainly wanted to, be so excited that y'all came tonight to look at this. Look, let me share my information about reading. Let me help y'all because Lacey, if you saw the order form that goes on, my personal mission is to spark the love of reading in children and families. And it's not only in children, but also in families, because I think that's what's so cool is the whole family is interested in reading. It's amazing where the family is going to go and what's going to happen. So that's one of the things that I like to do. So by y'all coming tonight, you have given me the opportunity to spark the love of reading in your family. So I thank you so much for letting me do this. And like I said, you have my numbers. I'd love to do parties with you or anything like that. Anytime that I can help you, let me know. Okay. So do y'all have any other questions for me?
No, do you have any like strategies for teaching our kids to read as far as like
Oh,
one-on-one?
one of
If
the
I'm
things that I forgot to tell you, okay, when you read them a story, you know, that's one of the reasons. Like we talked about pointing out rhyming words, that's really important to do that. But the other thing I learned in my training was when you get finished reading a picture book, ask them, what's the first thing that happened in the story? And what's the next thing that happened in the story? And what's the last thing that happened in the story? Or, you know, finally, because if you can teach them in preschool to learn how to summarize a book,
beginning, middle,
so
yeah.
much easier later. So that was one of the things that I thought was so important that I didn't do with my own kids when I was, even though I had a teaching background. We just teach them to look at that, but that's, you know, pretty much it. The other thing is in schools today, they're not teaching kids phonics, and that's okay for some kids. And some kids are going to get okay, but then when they get to middle school, and other times they're going to have sometimes a really hard time spelling if they don't understand phonics. And it's going to catch up with them at some point. So as it is right now, us moms are the ones that need to kind of teach them the sounds. And we don't teach them like with the wipe and clean, you know, some of the times we'll teach them the Z sound. And they learn in kindergarten that the Z sound is the letter Z. But what we don't teach them is that the letter S is also the Z sound. Like in the end of pens, you're going to say Z, you know, then you've got nose, no, os, n, o, z. And that is spelled with an S-E. So the S is also one of those sounds. And we don't teach skits that. So there's different things like that that is important to teach them about the sounds. And then letting them also, when you can point out the rhyming words, but also letting them guess at which word is right. Like now back inside for one more job with this friendly helper, friendly Bob, and talk about the difference between job and Bob. Is it j and ba, you know? And then you can also have them flip it. So you can say, okay, that was Bob. What if we wanted it to say, what if we wanted to get rid of the M, get rid of the B, the B sound, and we wanted to put what would it say? So you can give them ah, ba. Now, what does that say? And have them flip. So if they can substitute the sound, like if you take out the B and give them a M, what is it going to say? Stuff like that. So those are different things you can do while you're talking to them, is to substitute things. Get them to take out stuff. I'm trying to think of another example. Oh, here.
Really makes sense.
Yeah, like day. Now take out day and you know, take out the D and put a sound. What's it going to say? Hey, you know, you don't have to show them this yet, but that's what I'm talking about. Anytime you can do that, and you can change out, and you can also talk about the initial position and the final position. So like in this one, we can talk about when I was doing the hey, where is it? This one, you know, we can talk about the sounds. What are the sounds? A. There's only 2 sounds, but there's how many letters? There's 3 letters. So you can talk to them about the sounds, and then you can say, well, what is the final sound in the word? So then the final sound is A, you know, but what is the initial sound? The initial sound is, you know, and getting them to figure out the position of the letters, because that's really important for them to understand too, is where the letters are. So that's another thing that you can do when they're young. And then also just exposing them to stories, but also exposing, these are our little beginner readers, and I didn't get a chance to show these, but taking a subject matter, like for you guys, y'all are really interested in dinosaurs. The dinosaur book like this might be even better than the Shine a Light for right now, because the pictures are great. And you can pick and choose the information. You don't have to read the whole thing. But then in the back of each of these books, there's also a link to the internet where you can get more information. So let's say you don't know all the dinosaurs, but you want to know a little bit more about them. You go over here where it's linked up, and then you can go, like when I did the dog one with my daughter, I got to play a game on what dogs originated in what country. So that's just another fun way that you can take it so that you're exposing them. But reading aloud to them is really important too. And that goes back with the advertising, is for you to enjoy what you're reading to them. So you have to get books that you enjoy reading. One that a lot of parents enjoy reading is Nibbles. Nibbles the Book Monster. So you have to make sure that you get stuff that you enjoy reading. And then you can point out, I mean, even now, when they're really, really young with your 4-year-old, you can point out when they in the literature, when they talk about similes, like that's like this. And you can go ahead and start telling her that that's a name. It's called a simile. What they just did there in the language is a simile. And she can start pinpointing it out. We call that analyzing the text. But that's what you can start doing with her right now, is talking about that. I'm trying to think. Some of the chapter books that I have really cool similes in them. One that was today, I think it was, they said, my head felt as if it had firecrackers popping off in it because of all these ideas that were coming to my head. So it's just a great way to expose them to language by thinking about how to use similes and just working with them with that. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I have.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, and then you mentioned diversity, Lacey. We have a book called All About Diversity. So again, starting to talk to them, because I agree with y'all. It's a very important thing, and just using books and language to expose them to what's out there in the world and what's different than what they normally see. But language is so important. Oh, and then when they're young, like they are, we have, I don't know if I have them in here. We have like my first encyclopedia, and it's full of just words, just simple words. Because right now at 2 and 4, they're still sponges. So anytime, like we have 100 things to spot or something like that. Anytime you can expose them to vocabulary now, they're going to remember it because they're sponges. So if you wait later, they're not going to get all that vocabulary. So that's what's really cool about those books that have a whole bunch of different names in their naming certain things. I'm like,
one book I'd like to mention is the one that is about adoption, because I love adoption. I have friends who
the babies airports. Yeah.
Babies come from airports.
Yeah.
I can't wait to read it myself, but
it's a really good one.
It was on our lead teacher's list, and I think that's so neat. So babies airports, and it looks really cute. I can't wait to get my hands on it.
Yeah, it's really neat. And like this one is, can we really help polar bears? It's a lot of information, but because they love animals, it's really, really neat. I have another one for kids who are scared. We have the What If Monster. And the What If Monster, just to kind of give you a little bit of an idea, it's one of my favorite books. And we have the stuffed animal What If Monster too. But it's all about that things that stop us from thinking about the fear that gets in the way of us dreaming. So this is Jonathan James and the What If Monster. What if you tumble? What if there's wind? What if you slip and your knee gets all skinned? What if they giggle? What if it's chilly? What if you jump and you look really silly? This author actually told me that it's hard to find books with rhyming words. And the reason for that is because they can't be translated into other languages.
Oh, okay.
And that's why. So you have to be so a lot of ours do rhyme on that purpose. But anyway, you keep going on. What if it's yucky? What if it's icky? What if mom yells because you're too picky? And it talks about not wanting to eat certain foods and stuff like that. But then he has a paradigm shift. Now, wait just a minute. I have something to say. After hearing all those what ifs all through the day, I hear all your worries, but what if you're wrong? Asked Jonathan James. Um, w- um, what if I climb to that top of that tree and I never slip or skin a knee? What if I jump right into that pool and everyone thinks I'm really cool? And what if baseball is nothing but fun and I end up hitting a triple home run? And what if my drawing goes up on the wall and everyone thinks it's the best of all? And what if I taste some of that food and it puts my mouth in a very good mood? And then it just goes on and on about just paradigm shift. What if that chance I take in the end is just how I find my very best friend? So it's a good story for things that are scaring to them, for whatever reason, whether it's surgery, whether it's, whatever. It's just good to think about to shift the paradigm shift. But you can take this book, and again, the rhyming words are amazing. So pointing out the rhyming words, talking to them about the rhyming words, and then talking to them that what's the first thing that happened, what's the next thing that happened, and what finally, he didn't give up. He was able to maybe find his very best friend. He ended up jumping in the pool at the end of the book. But those are some. We have what happiness is also a really fun story that I really like about appreciating where you are. Like this mouse is looking at this really cool mansion house and he thinks, gosh, I wish I had that house. And then as it turns out, he found out that the mouse in the mansion is actually looking at his house because his house is so simple and there looks like there's so much community in his house. And this other house, they're more lonely. So it's just about appreciating where you are. So, and we have a little mouse for that too. Anything else that I hadn't talked about?
Thank you. This has been such a fun evening, just getting to read so many and look at so many fun stories with the different concepts for everyone. And
See, for your 2-year-olds also, we have the big book of, and see, these are big. And when you're talking about Lacey and you're thinking about you can't get him to sit still, he doesn't really have to sit still. You can be looking at this book and he can be playing and doing whatever he wants to on the floor. And you can still just be pointing out stuff to him.
Okay, which one is that?
This is the big book of trains.
Okay.
We have big book of dinosaurs too. So we just make it really hard for y'all to figure out what you want because we have so many cool things. But that's why I do this. I love it, and I do. I get so excited about it. But thank y'all for sharing your time with me too. And I will work on the recording. I'll get it uploaded to YouTube and then I'll send it to you. And then they can you can send it out to parents and stuff like that.
Okay, great.
Let them look.
That's
Thank y'all so much for joining me tonight. I really appreciate it. And
thank you.
it was a blast to us too. So take care. Okay. Oh,
Thank you.
One chat. Did I miss something? Nope. Oh, she said, have a good night. So she had to go, which is fine, but yeah, I just get into talking and enjoying and everything else. I forget about the time. So
I've loved hearing you talk about all the great books. So
all right.
Thank you.
Well, you're welcome. Take care. And I will get this uploaded and send it to you in just a bit. Okay. Have fun.
Thank
you. Thank you for arranging it. Okay. Bye.
Bye.